What's going on, guys? This is John from Texas Wiles,
Rooster from Rooster Outdoors.
and you are listening to the Wiley Rooster Boys Outdoor Podcast. So we took last week off. No particular reason, I guess. Well, there was a particular reason, but that reason didn't happen, and we could have done the show, but we didn't want to because we planned on taking the time off, so we did.
Yep.
But in this episode, we want to talk to you guys about one of the 5 C's. And the 5 C's being cutting tools, cover elements, such as shelter and stuff like that, combustion device, lighters, ferro rods, stuff like that, containers, pots, pans, and cordage. Now, we're only going to touch on one of these. Going to be cutting tools. But before I go into that, if any of you watched our outing video, I don't know if I spoke on it in the video or I cut that part out, but I had this blow-up pillow that I bought at Walmart for $10. And I blew it up, put my head on it, and it went flat. So I didn't have a pillow. Now, Rooster, you had what would you call that? Just a regular pillow, like a.
I mean, they call it a camping pillow, but yeah, it's essentially like a regular pillow.
Yeah, like a mini regular pillow. But anyway, it reminded me. I just got reminded of that because I had my pack sitting over there on the floor, and I'd gotten some stuff out of it today. So that inflatable pillow is sitting on top of my pack, and that I went to Academy the other day and picked up one of those camp pillows, and it's sitting over there too. And anyway, I say all that because I paid $10 for the blow-up one from Walmart, and I paid $5 for this one from Academy, which is a whole lot more comfortable. So it's up to you guys, personal preference, whether you choose I guess it'd be a plush, not really a plush, but a regular type pillow versus a blow-up pillow. Personally, I think the regular type would be better. I think
Dude, I slept good. I slept real good on it. So
well, I'm thinking the blow-up one would be hot since it's vinyl.
it might, and that's when you told me about it. I was thinking about it, and I happened to be at that Academy, and I seen those for $5, so I was like, why not? I was there.
And that's great. They're $5, man, and
Yeah,
that's cheap for what it is.
it's pretty small, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Also, before we get into our main topic, I feel like we need to discuss something that you turned us on to, Rooster, the merchandise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you brought that up. So, we've been kind of dabbling and stumbled across the site. And I ain't going to say, I mean, it's official. It is official, but it's still kind of in the works. But we do now have merchandise in stores, Rooster Outdoors and Texas Wiles. So,
we don't have anything for Wiley Rooster Boys yet, but y'all hang tight.
Yeah, we got a few things we got to work out before we get that. But, this is just, we're kind of testing the waters, seeing how this site is. But we'll definitely have those links up for you guys. Check it out. We've got some product already on there. Actually made another sale the other night online.
Man, the last 2 designs of the stuff that I've put up, they're still under review. So maybe I did something wrong, but I do have one section of stuff that is, available for sale, shirts and different stuff like that. But I'm about to contact somebody, I guess.
And I do also want to mention, I personally ordered some stuff too, just because I kind of want to see what the quality is.
Yes.
I have not received mine. I don't think you've received yours.
No, not yet.
We're kind of waiting on that. That's what I'm saying. We're kind of testing. It's official, but it's not official. We're kind of wanting to make sure this is the direction we're wanting to go with as far as the company.
Yeah.
So.
And if the materials or the stuff isn't the greatest of quality, we're not going to hide that from you guys. Because I know I've been burned barefoot outdoors, but I've been burned by companies. I'm going to that again. Barefoot Outdoors charged me $48 for a T-shirt, and then the T-shirt that had the decals on it that were wrong, and the decals that were on the shirt are already gone. They get washed off. But anyway, Barefoot Outdoors, I don't like you. But
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
but yeah, these websites, we will put the links to them in the description of this episode. Don't let me forget to do that. I'll have to get yours and mine put up. But yeah, so for now, I mean, it's just our individual channels. Because we are team effort with the Wiley Rooster Boys. However, we haven't really, what would you say, established that brand yet.
Not quite. I mean, we just get on here and talk to you guys right now. We really haven't.
I mean, we got a little bit of stuff up on the Wiley Rooster Boys YouTube channel, but nothing crazy. But yeah, so I guess is that some house cleaning, old news stuff that we got taken care of? I think that's about all we need to cover on that.
Yes, sir. Are you want to start with the main topic, or?
Well, what do you got in mind?
Well, the only reason I asked was it's going to be down the road for you guys, but you got some pretty good news from Mike, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. I'm glad you brought that up. See, we're out of the loop, man. We're kind of getting our sea legs back about us, you know. Skipping a week, that might not be a good thing to do. As we spoke in the last episode, we have now made an option available on this show to where if you like what you hear and you want to support us monetarily, it's completely voluntary. If you guys want to do it, cool. If not, completely understand. But there'll be a link in the description of this episode where you can support the show. It's like in dollar amounts, like $1, $5, $10, and stuff like that. But in doing that, excuse me, whenever we hit 10 supporters, we got 1 or 2 right now, but whenever we hit 10 supporters, we're going to do a giveaway. And that giveaway, I can say this with about 80% certainty right now, it's going to be one of Mike Slosson's knives. And if you guys have seen the videos, those knives are great, man.
Yeah. One of a kind.
So, if you choose to support the show, awesome. We love you. We love you even if you don't support the show. But
absolutely.
But that's that news. And just now, I'm realizing I think you meant something else. Were you talking about next week?
What's that?
Were you talking about next week with Mike, or did I just?
No.
Okay.
You nailed what I was talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
As soon as I got through that, I was like, I think he might have been talking about next week.
No, that's what I was talking about, but I'm glad you brought up next week, too. That's something people need to look forward to.
Yeah, I'll let you tell him about that.
Well, I just want to say, what is next week?
Halloween.
Yeah, buddy. So we're going to do a special episode next week. We're going to do kind of like a Halloween special. We're going to have Mike Slauson back on. We're just going to talk about some
The Slaw Dog.
Time. Yeah. Just talk about some spooky stories, things that happened to us while we're out there, hunting, fishing, whatever. Should be a pretty fun little episode, actually.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am.
Yeah.
Mike kind of touched on some of the things he was going to tell us about, and I'm not going to say anything about it right now because I'm going to let it come from him, but I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Tell you what, though, before we get into the body of our show, let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Hey, y'all. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys about one of our sponsors. Not only are they one of our sponsors, but they are an incredible American company, and they sell fire starting gear. The name of this company is Bigfoot Bushcraft. Now, this stuff works exactly as it is advertised. You take one of those plugs, expose the fibers, one strike with that ferro rod, you got yourself a flame. A decent flame at that. And this flame will burn for 5 minutes or more. So you get that thing put on your tinder, and that's more than enough time to get yourself a sustainable fire. So be sure to head on over to BigfootBushcraft.com. Use discount code WileyRoosterBoys, all one word, at checkout for 15% off your order. And every order placed with our discount code helps support our show. So get on over there, get you some gear, and get you a fire. And we are back. I know I said we're going to get into our main body, but I got to share with you guys a little story real quick. The other day, I was home alone and I was bored. And, well, what's a man to do? Go outside, start a fire, and stare at the fire, right? And I had a proud dad moment. Because my wife and daughter were on the way home. And I had the fire good and established. So I'm sitting out there. I got the fire going in my cowboy cooker. And as soon as they pull up, my daughter jumps out of the car and she goes, "Is that a fire? I want to come sit by you by the fire." And man, I'm going to tell you what. It just made me so proud. My little girl wanting to stare at a fire with daddy. And she wants to start going out and doing these survival challenges with me and stuff like that. However, she's 5 years old. Can she do it? Probably for about an hour. And then she's gonna get bored with it and want to come back and do her own thing. But and we're 27 days out from the twins, man.
That's crazy, man. That's real crazy. And that's awesome though that she takes an interest in that.
Yep. Today I set up the hammocks outside. I double stacked them. I put her on top of mine, and we laid out there in the hammocks, just chilled and talked for like about an hour. She loves being in a hammock, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, you sent me that video. It looked like you guys were having fun.
She loves it, man. But anyway, all right. Now.
Getting the meat potatoes.
Yeah. Where are we at? There we are. The number one thing we want to talk about is knives and knife care. Because when you're out there, your knife is your number one asset. You can use it to split wood. You can use it to make feather sticks for tinder. You can even take down trees with your knife if you do it well. We're not talking about huge trees, but what do you think, like 4 to 6 inch in diameter trees?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, by batoning the wood. And if any of you guys don't know what batoning is, which I don't blame you because I didn't know what that was for quite some time. But it's where you take your blade. Oh, just hit my mic. You take your blade, you set it where you want it, and you take another log, and you just smack the back of your blade, and makes it sink into the wood. And by a series of different angles and cuts doing that, you could effectively cut down a tree. Now, doing that is going to take its toll on your blade. So that's exactly why you want a knife is something that if you skimp on anything else in your pack, as far as price goes, the knife is something you should definitely not skimp on.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's probably your number one tool when you're out there.
Oh, definitely.
It's such a versatile tool. It's do anything from skinning to crafting to whatever you need to do with a knife. Just like I said, you can baton, get your firewood, you can split wood, get a fire going. I mean, it's such a versatile tool.
See, you doing all that stuff on your knife, you need to make sure that you're keeping it sharp, because really, a dull knife is a whole lot more dangerous than a sharp knife. Because, I mean, if you think about it, you got a sharp knife, you are trying to do, a fine attention to detail cut, or a card, or something, whatever. Well, you got a sharp knife, that knife is going to do exactly what you want it to do. Well, you got a dull knife, and you're going to have to push harder, or harder, and harder, and harder. And that gives you more of an opportunity for that blade to slip. And a lot of times, you're sitting down doing these things. Well, there's, what's it called? The triangle of death or whatever on a human body. It's basically your upper thighs to above your groin. Because you have your femoral arteries right there and stuff like that. So that knife slips, goes into your femoral artery. What is it, like 6 minutes you bleed out from your femoral?
Yeah, you bleed quick.
Yeah, a dull knife is dangerous, folks. You got to keep that sucker sharp.
Yep.
I don't want to hog everything about it. I'm sure you got some stuff you want to say too.
When it comes to your knife too, it's also going to be There's so many things, really, that you got to pick and choose when you're picking this knife. Just like John was saying, you don't want to skim. Uh, but it's kind of like, I don't know the best way to put it, but there's so many different characteristics you got to look at. I mean, you got different kinds of tangs.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to your knife, you got different kind of edges. Just different kind of knives in general. You got drop points, straight bags, spear points. Just all kinds of stuff. You were talking about batoning.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people would probably tell you full tang
Oh yeah.
would be probably the stoutest thing you're going to want to mess with.
Yeah, you don't have a full tang, you'll break that sucker pretty easy.
Yes, and I mean, you've got all kinds of different things. You got full, you've got like what do you call it, skeletonized kind of tang, It's kind of full, but they got some cut out on it.
And what's that one where it comes to a point in the hand? It's full, but it comes to a point at the butt or top, I guess.
It's like a narrowing or thick tang.
Yeah.
They call them. I think the stick actually is like a full length tang. It's just really narrowed out at the end. You got a partial tang. It's kind of, I don't know, would you say halfway? It's just from the blade, when the tang goes in, it's real narrow, but it's probably cut about half the length of what a full tang is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and those are still pretty strong, and you might be able to get by with like splitting 2-inch branches, but I would be hesitant to do so. Because, I mean, as we're saying, that's your most important asset out there, and if you break it, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say about the grinds, but I'll wait on that.
Yeah, and that's fine. And then, like I was also saying, the blade types. I mean, you have so many different designs in how the blade looks, and they all play a crucial role in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends if you're wanting to craft, whether you want to skin. I'm sure you've all seen them knives. They got gut hooks. They all serve a purpose for the design of the blade, as well as the edge. The edge is a critical thing to keep in mind too.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on what you want to do. I think most of them are like the straight back blades. That's mostly what you see for bushcraft when you say.
Yeah, it's the hard angle of the
Like
90s.
Yeah, like what are those called? The Maras?
More.
What is that?
Man, I could not tell you the actual full name of those blades, but I just know them as Moras. But I have one. It's over there on my pack, but there's like another 5 letters in that name, but we'll just call them Moras.
Yeah, I think they're more like a straight back blade.
And the one I have is not full tang.
Which is crazy. I'll let you talk about that, but buying it from where you bought it, and granted, that's not him. He doesn't make the blades,
Right.
But you would think.
Well, I think I don't think, as you were just speaking, knives have a purpose. And I'm pretty sure that Mora that I have is not meant for heavy use. I would say that blade is probably meant for processing animals. Probably, I would say it would be good for feather sticks. It has that Scandi grind on it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not. Yeah, it's got a Scandi grind, not a flat grind. Yeah, it's a really good knife, and I want to say it's I think it's 1075 steel. I think I could be wrong about that, but that's something else that we could get into. I don't really know a whole lot about different types of steel.
Yeah, I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to that at all. Oh, Chris, though, that boy, he knows his knives.
I'll tell you what, the guy we work with, this dude is like a knife expert. And we need to get him and Mike together and let them work something out.
Absolutely. I was just kind of thinking about it. We probably should have maybe had Chris or somebody on here talk about some of these knives.
Yeah, you're probably right. But as far as keeping your knife sharp, if I remember, I will try to put a link to this on Amazon in the description. But this thing is called the Smith's Tri-Hone. It is it's a little, see if I can describe it here. It has a base, and it has a triangular piece of, a triangular insert that has 3 sides. On one side, it has a fine stone. One side, medium stone. Other side, coarse stone. And that sucker, man, you can put edge on a blade with that. Of course, I don't really use the coarse. I might use the coarse on like a hatchet or something like that. But as far as a blade for like knives, no. And if you mix that little whetstone setup with a leather strop, you're good. And really, honestly, once you get that blade honed with a medium or fine stone, all you need to maintain that edge is going to be a leather strop. You can keep an edge really, really, really sharp with just a leather strop. I love that thing. And I made mine out of a old piece of belt and a block of wood.
It's crazy to me, dude. I never, I'm a rookie when it comes to knives, keeping them sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And I try my darndest, but it don't always pan out for me. But that strop, once you guys showed me that, man, that sucker, it does the job.
Mm-hmm. Tell you what, let's take our last break before we get too far into the grinds, and we'll be right back. So, we were talking about the leather strop and about to go into the grinds, but the leather strop, of course, you can do it with just straight leather, but there is a compound that you buy that you can put on it that really helps. I don't know what it's called. If you do, I don't know.
I don't. I'm sure a quick little Google search will tell you.
Yeah, that's true.
I know there's different compounds, different grits. They got grit in them.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like sandpaper, they all have their own different grit for what you're trying to do.
Oh, and knife care. Before we get distracted again, knife care. In my case, with the knife that Mike made me, since it is a custom-made knife, it is not pre-treated with oils, which I like that because I do use it for cutting up food, and I don't really want a machine-grade oil on my blade. So I think it was it you that told me about what Dave Canterbury uses? It was peanut oil, right?
Yes, I wish I had the article in front of me. It kind of comes to the metals, which, again, we're not the most knowledgeable when it comes to different types of metal. But it was something about the way that they don't treat it with the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Something for the hardness. And what Dave always says, when you treat it with oil, because you got to do it just, for rust prevention and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Dave Canterbury says to use food-grade oil, especially if you're going to be filleting fish or, cleaning out a deer, whatever. Definitely want to use something food-grade because you don't want that in your meat.
Right.
So.
And as we speak right now, I have the knife that Mike made for me soaking in a cup of peanut oil right next to me. I have not been practicing what we're preaching here since I got this knife. Well, I guess I have a little bit, but it's gotten some rust spots on it here and there. Nothing bad. I have this blue and rust remover. You just take a little cloth and wipe that rust right off and treat it. But I'm hoping that soaking this blade for at least 24 hours in this peanut oil, it'll slow that process down. But it's just preventative maintenance. That's all it is. Is that oil gonna last forever on there? No, it's not. But that's fine by me because I would not trade that knife for any other knife. I wouldn't. I love that knife.
No, and there's a lot of people that use knives, especially custom knives like that. They ain't gonna be quite treated, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way I look at it, it's like a firearm. I mean, you don't take care of it, that sucker's gonna rust too.
That's true. But do you want to touch on the grinds?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you take that. I kind of talked about tangs.
Okay.
Stuff.
So you got 4 basic grinds for your blades. You got the Scandinavian grind. You have the hollow grind, a convex, and a flat grind. I would say the most common grind for bushcraft knives would be the Scandinavian Grind. That is basically, okay, picture this in your head. You have two parallel lines coming down, and then, like the last little bit of it, they come down to a point. Whereas a hollow grind, this one's a very, very brittle grind. You got two parallel lines being the outer edges of your knife. They come down and they kind of arch in down to a point. They're not straight. They arch in, so that leaves the edge of your knife extremely brittle and thin. You have a convex, which is pretty hard to sharpen. Well, I guess I should say the hollow grind is also pretty hard to sharpen, but the convex, it's kind of just a rounded grind. It's got the sharp point or sharp edge on it, but there's no straight lines. It's exactly opposite of the hollow grind. And then you have the flat grind. My personal favorite is probably the flat grind. It's the easiest to maintain because the flat grind, the blade just starts at the very top of the back of the blade and comes down to a point. There could be different thicknesses, stuff like that. But the two best grinds you're going to use for bushcraft is Scandinavian Grind and flat grind. That's my preference, personally. I don't know about you.
Yeah. No, and that's it. I mean, convex, it's another decent one. From books I read from Dave Canterbury, and this is one man's opinion. He talks about how the convex grind, it's kind of more of a preferred for like batoning wood, is what he says.
I could see that.
He says it holds up pretty well to it.
Yeah, I guess it would be a thicker grind, so yeah, that makes sense.
Every blade's going to kind of have its pros and cons.
That's true. However, I will say, regardless of grinds, regardless of points, if you're going to have a bushcraft knife, you need to make sure that your top edge of that blade is a hard 90-degree angle. The reason for that is, say your ferro rod doesn't have a striker. Well, if you have another piece of metal, if it's rounded at all, even the least little bit, you're not going to be able to strike that ferro rod. So having that hard 90 on the back edge of your blade, that's a must.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was actually going to say the same thing. That is a must.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about the hollow grind.
Okay.
Just for our listeners, trying to visualize what you were telling them.
Yeah, I'm terrible I'm terrible at describing it.
I mean, well, it's kind of hard to talk about it,
Yeah.
Without visuals. Majority of pocket tools, multi-tools, those little blades that come on them, a lot of those are hollow grinders. Not all, but there's a lot of them that have hollow grinds on them.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of help give a visual for some people.
Yeah, I mean, you can take that knife, compare it to another knife, and, you can probably assume the grinds that way. But you said pocket knives. So, this is a question for you and a question for our listeners. Would you guys prefer a fixed blade? Let's say you have an option. You get one choice. You're going out in the woods for 3 days. Do you want a fixed blade? Or do you want like a folding knife, like a Swiss Army knife or something? Me, that's a hard question.
That is a hard question.
Because while your fixed blade will do all kinds of stuff, say you take a legit Swiss Army knife out there. It's got scissors, a saw, different size knives, screwdrivers. You could do all kinds of stuff.
They got
Did I lose you? Uh-oh.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, okay. I thought I lost you there for a second. For some reason, I'm having some technical difficulties. And that what made me think about that is the fact that this last season of Alone, they had a choice. They could take a knife, or they could take a multi-tool. And it was amazing to me how many of them chose the multi-tool. over a knife. I mean, that's such, that's not to say that small blades can't do the job just as well, might just take longer. But I guess I could see the perks of a multi-tool, pliers and stuff like that. I don't know. Being that I haven't been in that situation myself, I guess I can't really make that call.
Yeah, and to me, it'd also be what other tools do you have at your disposal?
Yes.
You know, the way I look at it, this is my opinion. I want a fixed blade.
Me too.
But I see the full benefit of a multi-tool or something. What I was going to add to the Swiss Army knife you got in the mall, if you need to do any kind of repair work on your clothing or whatever, just all kinds of different tools. So I could see that. And now if you got some other tools to compensate,
yeah,
a multi-tool would probably be the way to go. But just for the variety of things that thing could do. But
I could see for like my pack, I'd probably stick with the fixed blade. But if I didn't have some of the other things that I do have, then yes, the multi-tool would be the way to go.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's a multi-tool. Throw it in your pocket, and you still got your fixed blade on your belt or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, who's to say you can't take both?
Exactly.
This is just.
I get what you're saying. The question was, which one would you rather take? And I'd probably be a fixed blade guy.
I love the way they feel. I love their versatility, their strength.
Yeah, I mean,
and you just feel awesome whenever you're doing stuff with it.
And like we just talked about the edge. The versatility of what your edge does. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with just a certain edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, being that we got pretty much everything on the notes wrapped up for this episode, whenever we started this episode, I spoke on the 5 C's. You got cutting tools, cover elements, combustion device, containers, and cordage. Those 5 things right there are absolute musts for your pack. Well, I guess we won't really go into too much on another one just yet. Which one do you think we ought to cover next time? Well, no, it won't be next time. It'll be after Halloween.
Yeah, it'd be after Halloween sometime because we got some other things.
You know what? We could just go in order. We can do cover elements if you want to.
We sure could.
Tents versus hammocks.
I don't want to give an exact date, just for the simple fact that I guess I might as well do it now. I wanted to give a shout out to a guy.
There you go.
A new guy I found, real nice guy. His name's Matt. And I told you about him, John.
Oh, this is okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's got his own YouTube channel. It's called Backwoods Mindset. And this guy just stumbled across me on Instagram. Got to talk to him. He's gonna be a guest sometime. We just got to get all the details, find out. We can do it. But that was all I was gonna bring. I was just gonna give a shout out to you, Matt. Watching YouTube, pretty awesome.
I've looked up some of the stuff, and I like it.
Yeah, John Boy here. He plans on joining one of your live channels.
Yes, sir.
One of these days. Just wanted to give you a shout out, but yeah, it don't matter. We can go in order however you want to do it.
Yeah.
They're all. Is that some of that Canterbury advice there?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, God knows his stuff. I do got to say this real quick, and this is way off subject, but we're talking about Dave Canterbury.
Okay.
And for you guys that don't know, years ago he did a show called Dual Survival on Discovery Channel with Cody Glendine. Which Cody, he's another amazing survivor. He's really good at primitive technology. Lives there in Arizona, does schools. But after David left, I'm sure you guys all know the story. If you don't, you can find out real quick. There was a guy named Joe that came in and took his place. I was telling you about this, John. I just found out recently. I used to think Joe was all right, until I started finding out this dude has a lot of dirty secrets. I'm just not a fan of Joe Teddy.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about some of those things. That's that's sketchy, man.
He's a real. I never knew that until the other day. I started rewatching all the dual survivals. I hadn't seen him forever. I always thought he was cool on camera, but no, he's a different character.
I need to check those out. I haven't watched them. Is that same one where you, old boy killed that pig with a spear and he just went all primal?
That was Joe.
That was Joe.
Yeah, that was Joe, man. It was the most primal when he killed that pig. Yeah.
That's pretty. Man, I'd love to kill a pig with a spear one day.
Yeah, I mean, just the look on his face, you could tell he was caveman there for a minute.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap this one up right here. Be looking forward to next week. We have the Halloween special coming up. Mr. Mike Slauson is going to join us. And I guess the episodes following, we will cover the 5 C's of bushcraft. So along with those 5 C's, there's a lot more stuff we're going to cover.
Sir, yes, sir.
And
before I forget, I ain't trying to interrupt you here.
You're good.
I got one more shout out I got to do. Zachary, your mom Shanda got a hold of me. Your mom is my cousin, and she told me you're a big fan of me and John's here. Been checking our YouTubes.
Oh, good deal.
Big time fisherman, yeah, dude, young guy, really loving the outdoors. Just wanted to say thank you, bud. Appreciate you watching. Don't ever stop, dude. You know how it is. You gotta love that fish. But I did want to give you a shout out. I meant to do it episode or 2 ago, but we kind of got busy with other stuff.
Yeah, it's always good to hear that somebody likes what they hear. And yeah, start young, be in the outdoors, because there ain't no better place to be.
Absolutely. But we appreciate it, bud.
Absolutely. So, yeah, check out Texas Wiles YouTube channel. Check out Rooster Outdoors YouTube channel. Like I said earlier, the support link for the show is going to be in the description below. And, yeah, be looking forward to next week. Until then, God bless you guys. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.